Good evening and welcome to today's episode of Pictures on My Mind. I'm your host Edward Thompson, and today's episode I'm actually talking about something which I'm surprised doesn't really come up on YouTube in the Photoland YouTuber sphere, and that's what's called photo theory. Now, I tried typing in photo theory or photography theory on YouTube, and I was hit with loads of amazing videos about colour theory and colour palettes. And obviously at some point someone made a video about it and everyone seems to have been confused and think like that's what photography theory is. It's really not. And I'd say for most photographers, colour theory, it's really not going to be that helpful. Like if you're working in the modes of documentary photography, photojournalism or street photography, we're not making shit up. We're not deciding the colour of the clothes people wear or the sofa or the curtains or the car. It's just life and it's happening. The only colour theory you need to think about is that your eye, when looking at an image, is drawn to the lightest point, like this beautiful white shirt. Or if something is, red. If it's red, people's eyes are going to go to it. That's the only real colour theory stuff you've got to worry about. Yeah, it's nice if tones happen and colours and whatever, but that's really not part of it. Look, on this desk, I have piles and piles of books, right? And look at me. I'm not even that into photo theory, and I've still probably got like 20 books on the subject, okay? So today I'm going to go through some of these books. Now, warning, right? These books, if you want to be a photographer, I would say in 90% of cases, mess you up to the point where you won't even be a photographer anymore. The kind of books that are preferred reading at universities that basically make you overanalyze what you're doing because you're having to kind of generate work that really illustrates some kind of fine art word soup salad of a statement of intent or whatever the hell they're trying to get you to do, rather than just purely focusing on the photography. So yeah, let this be a warning. If you want to keep just taking photos and being in that vibe, then maybe stop watching this video. For those who want to keep going, don't worry. I have read these. It did mess me up to the point where I overanalyze stuff, but there is a way through, and that's just keep photographing, okay? So to begin with, this was a book I got at art college probably like 25 years ago. It was Liz Wells' Photography, A Critical Introduction, okay? Contemporary debates. What is theory? Photography theory. Well, you know what? Let's just go straight to it. Hey, let's go straight to it. Photography theory, page 23. Here we go. One of the central difficulties in the establishment of photography theory and of priorities within debates relating to the photographic image is that photography lies at the cusp of the scientific, the social scientific, and the humanities. Thus, contemporary ontological debates relating to the photograph are divergent. One approach centres on analysis of the rhetoric of the image in relation to looking and the desire to look. This is premised on models of visual communication which draw upon linguistics and in particular psychoanalysis. So,
you can get all now into your kind of deconstructing the image. You think about a linguistic model of looking at things. You get into your Swiss post-structuralists, people like Ferdinand de Saussure.
And always see what I'm doing? See what just happened there? I gotta watch out for that, okay? That does happen, okay? So you can get into this, and it's very interesting, and you can see how things work. But I'd say as a creative person, if you're trying to just be a conduit for what you're seeing and getting these moments, this kind of deconstruction in the process of taking your photos will completely new to you, okay? And that's why you have academics who get into this kinds of stuff end up getting double firsts at the RCA for shining light through toilet paper that they've wiped their bum on. True story. So anyway, Liz Wells, Critical Introduction, bunch of essays here. I'm sure it's been updated. Stuff here, what Joe Spence says, some about advertising photography. Yeah, there you go. Two books that are going to be high on the hit list for reading lists are Roland Barthes' Camera Lucida and Susan Sontag's On Photography. Now, obviously, I can't really get into Roland Barthes' Camera Lucida too much, but like one of the theories in it kind of changed the way I saw photography. Not so much that it was like I read it and I was like, oh, I've learnt something new. I read something in this that put a name to something that I'd already discovered in my journey as a photographer, and I'm not going to burden you with it. Because another thing with a lot of these books is you're going to take different things from them, okay? You don't have to like read this and be like, oh, it's right, this is really the thing I'm into. Like, you can just read it and pick up some cool stuff. But yeah, really interesting, really dig this. Susan Sontag's on photography, wow. I was really into Diane Arbus at the time, and I highlighted loads of stuff to do with Diane Arbus. And yeah, I really don't agree with her now that I'm reading it back again. Yeah, this bit. Arbus's work does not invite viewers to identify with the pariahs and miserable-looking people she photographed. Humanity is not one. I don't know, man. Like, Diane was pretty weird and wacky and out there, and so were the people she shot. I totally disagree with that. Anyway, the one good thing about Susan Sontag's on photography that I still really like is at the back there's a brief anthology of quotations, which are some amazing quotes on photography. So let me read you a couple, okay? This is one by Paul Strand, and it's Paul Strand, who's a cool photographer, and this one really stayed with me, so here we go. Your photography is a record of your living for anyone who really sees. You may see and be affected by other people's ways. You may even use them to find your own, but you will have eventually to free yourself of them. That is what Nietzsche meant when he said, I have just read Schopenhauer, and now I have to get rid of him. He knew how insidious other people's ways could be, particularly those which have the forcefulness of profound experience if you let them get between you and your own vision. And, you know, that's probably why we have hundreds of photographers, like, since the 90s, who are just mini Martin Parrs running around. He kind of, you know, like a corrupted file in their machine. That was it, and they just went off taking those kinds of photos. So there you go. Love that quote. I've discovered, what was it? Yeah, I have just read Schopenhauer, now I must get rid of him. Really cool, man. Paul Strand, right? And that's a rare thing, is that in these piles of books, lots of the photo theories are written by academics and writers, right? There's not many photographers who write well, okay? Diane Arbus famously didn't write that much, right? A lot of people wrote about her. But that quote's from Paul Strand, who was a card-carrying, awesome photographer, and you can really get that in what he wrote, because any photographer can tell you, if you do get into another photographer's work, when you're younger especially, you are going to start, you know, aping them and mimicking them. It's like if you're a writer and you know, whatever, you get the idea, Here's another great quote, here we go. Yeah, I've said this before, I'll say it again, Gary Winogrand. I photograph to find out what something will look like photographed. Damn it. Janet. Simple, good. I mean, there's just so much good stuff here. Now, this is by John Skarkowski, who's like a famous curator in New York, set a lot of people on their way. I think who's quite instrumental of Danny Lyons. Hey, yo, we got the ceramic lion. I'm not lying, no deny. Is it Lion? What did I get told of Danny Lyon? Danny Lyon. Yeah, it's Danny Lyon was quite helped by this curator as well as many others. So here we go. Photography is a system of visual editing. At bottom, it is a matter of surrounding with a frame a portion of one's cone of vision while standing in the right place at the right time. Like chess or writing, it is a matter of choosing from among given possibilities. But in the case of photography, the number of possibilities is not finite, but infinite. Oh, goosebumps, right? So anyway, you know, have a go at that. Susan Sontag's on photography. There's so many copies, man. Secondhand, you'll pick it up. Kind of cool. She also later wrote a book, Susan Sontag, regarding the pain of others. So if you're interested in conflict photography or war photography, really pressing. Obviously, my old, not obviously, you would know this, but to me it is my old Professor Paul Lowe. He's referenced in this as well. So again, really interesting book here. Now, oh, and again on the Barthes thing, Roland Barthes Mythologies, another great little book. Basically loads of short vignettes. There's a very cool little chapter about, out of all things, professional wrestling. Thinking Photography by Victor Bergen. There's lots of people who are really into Victor Bergen. The curator and writer David Campany, I know, is particularly into Victor Bergen. So you could check out Victor Bergen's Thinking Photography. Jeff Dyer is a guy who wrote some books. He wrote this, The Ongoing Moment, and bless my very good friend Mark Mackler bought this for me on my 27th birthday, which was nearly 27 years ago. And I've got to confess, I never read it. I think I'll show you how far I got because I underlined something. Where'd I get to? Here we go. Yeah, I got to page 9 and I stopped reading it, and this is why I stopped reading it. I might not be a photographer, but I now see the kind of photographs I would like to have taken if I were one. Yeah, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, there are good photographers out there who can write. So I do find it weird that we do have this sort of weird thing in academia in particular, all these experts on photography who can't photograph. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've said this before and people have got annoyed, but like, imagine if you were like training to be like a top tennis player. You'd want your coach to be able to play tennis, right? Yeah? Or if you wanted to be a top F1 race car driver, you'd want someone who could drive a car. I do find it really weird that there's these people who prophesize, is that even a word? It's late, guys, about being experts in this field, this thing that we do, but they don't do it. It's very odd. Now, this is a nice segue to Henri Cartier-Bresson. Obviously, hopefully no introduction needed. I'm a big fan. It's not trendy to like Bresson, but I do. And he wrote this amazing photography book here, Writings on Photography, The Mind's Eye. And you know what? A bit like my man Pinkassoff, it's a little bit pretentious, but it's also beautiful. And the reason why it's beautiful, and I have mentioned this before, I did a video previously talking about Henri Cartier-Bresson. If you don't know about the man, you watch that like 25-minute video. It's like his history, some of his work, and basically his beginnings as a surrealist street photographer. It's a really good video. If you haven't watched it, it's a few years old now, check it out. But I'm going to read something that I read before. I'm going to read it again in this episode because I find it so poignant. Here we go. In a world that is buckling under the weight of profit-making, that is overrun by the destructive sirens of techno-science and the power hunger of globalization, the new brand of slavery, beyond all of that, friendship exists, love exists. And he wrote that in 1998. 1998. So anyway, this is really cool. So it's some quite philosophical writings about Henri. In the same way, this is a great little book I picked up, again, secondhand by Aperture, and it's just interviews of Henri Cartier-Bresson. So yeah, you can go with your pure kind of academic theorist books and essays, and obviously, you know, there's loads of that, but there are some exceptions where photographers have written about photography. So something else cool here, I got these. It's Darren Campion, who now heads up, I think, the Photography Museum in Ireland, which is pretty cool. And he published these small little books, and they're basically loads and loads of little vignettes and essays, formerly from blogs and other stuff. Loads of short little essays on photography. It's a two-parter, and again, something to think about. Two books here, Photography and the Body, John Pultz. Again, got this book ages ago. So sort of particular special focus on, well, photography and the body. How has our perception of the human body been altered by the manipulation of the photographer's lens? In what ways have symbolism, realism, views of authority, or the rise of feminism changed the way we look at human form and the ways in which it's presented to the viewing public? There we go. Boof. And last but no means least, this great book by Nonnie Stacey, Photography of Protest and Community. Again, really good book. It's about the radical collectives of 1970 and photo collectives. I'd like to think, does Network get a shout? What was it that Mike Goldwater was in? I don't have a script, guys. I'm discovering as I go. It wasn't Network. What did he call it? It was a workshop. Oh, hopefully he won't see this video. Goldwater. Wow. Oh my God. So yeah, really cool. So Mike Goldwater is on like 40 pages in this book. That was it. Half Moon Gallery Limited Company. And it's just, yeah, it's just so many people have been so instrumental in the world of kind of British photography. And you probably don't even know of them, which is pretty mad. But anyway, I've got 2 interviews of Mike Goldwater on this channel. You should check those out. But again, great book. And I must say, I got this just when I was a new dad. I haven't had a good chance to go through it yet, and I really should. So, there you go, guys. So, a load of books you could check out. And here's the thing for me, right? I say I read a lot, and I do read a lot. But I'm not necessarily really interested anymore in reading about photography. As a documentary photographer, I'm generally reading for research, okay? So I'm reading about the subject matter that I'm focusing on. I'm trying to become an expert in that subject. And that subject isn't photography. Like, I'm not going to make a photography project about photographers. You know what I mean? I'm going to make a photography project about a topic that interests me, that I find really interesting, or something I want to learn more about. And photography is a great gateway to that, because then you can get into more books and more films and documentaries and become really knowledgeable on that. So yeah. So I'm really sorry if you've seen all these books now and you get them and you cease to be a photographer, but that's kind of good for me. You know, I am a freelancer as well. We've got to take some of you guys out, but do like, comment and subscribe, and thank you for watching.